here are the dungeon scrawlers. We're hanging out before the witch fight. Woo! Don't
But
worry.
our screens are still green.
It's not just going to be a bait and switch where they slip away from the witches. There's going to be some fighting, so don't worry about it. We were just
We'll
talking
decide
about
what we're going to do before we do it. That's our job.
Okay, let me clarify.
What if we beat them in one move? Like just one spell.
If they slip away from the witches without a real fight, you can blame them, not me. Okay, that's what I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, Rogar hasn't given up on peace, man.
Give peace a chance.
That's right.
I see a lot of our old regulars out there, like Hi Daza, Hi Star Chaser, Deckard Kane, Meyer Doug, Umbra, Seldarine. How's everybody doing tonight?
Woo.
Nice.
Ooh, comfortable.
We had a beginning. Before this, we had a question for chat, which is, what bingo squares do you guys think we should add?
Oh yeah, we want to add some more bingo squares.
Need
so
some fresh ones.
Send them to us. Tell us in the chat.
The best idea. Oh, sorry. Go on, Rhiannon.
Well, I was just gonna say I have a follow-up question because work is starting to do like funny Zoom backgrounds. So like today in our morning scheduling meeting, it was like something you like about fall or whatever. So apparently coming up next week is the celebrity that people tell you look like.
Oh no.
So I was hoping to pull for like all of us, if they're gonna make a Dungeon Scrawlers like movie, it's like half our characters and then half like biopic about us, like which actors would do which people.
That's fascinating.
Huh.
I think
Well,
vaguely John Cusack for me, maybe like, but I think someone said Jack Black before. So I guess, if I lose a little more weight, like John Cusack and shave, I mean, I'd love to say Hugh Jackman or something, but obviously that's, not
Right.
happening.
Are we going for idealized cells?
Right. Idealized cells? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but is it
Ryan Reynolds.
the self that I see when I look in the mirror, or the self that you see when you
Yeah, exactly, right? You see Jack Black. I see Hugh Jackman.
Chris Helmet.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I was gonna say for you, Stephen, what's his name? Jason Statham?
Oh.
Like, action guy.
Oh.
That worked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but I'll look it up.
Google
my
Bruce
God.
Willis. We could do a Bruce Willis.
I can
maybe.
see that.
A little bit.
He's not quite that grizzled. I feel like
Yeah.
Jason
Fair.
Statham has sort of a
Damn, that guy's
long face.
ripped.
More distinguished.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
how we see
Oh, wait,
you,
oh,
Steven.
wait.
I mean, to be fair, we've only seen you from here up. So
This is
You're
how we
mentally
view you.
ripped for sure.
as far as
man.
anybody knows.
Yeah.
Well,
You go walking
yeah.
the dog a lot. I just gotta say.
Daza says
Yeah.
Brian Brown for Sturge. I don't know who Brian Brown is. You might want to look him up too.
Yeah, we're gonna be hitting the Google.
All right,
So does
Bob.
anybody have any ideas for me for work?
Meyer Doug said Jackie Chan for me. I could see that.
Oh, yeah,
Got the nipple
Brian
smile.
Brown
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
especially a little
works.
bit younger.
Brian Brown.
works. My face hasn't quite sagged that much yet, but I see what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Kind of small chin, puffy eyes. Kind of Gollum, basically, is what you're saying. But he's not an actor. I got you, Brian Brown.
Okay, Rhiannon. My suggestions. I have two suggestions.
Okay.
I think either Jessica Chastain or Julianne Moore, either of those two.
Oh,
Those
interesting.
are my suggestions.
Thank you.
Hmm?
I'll have to sort of do a side by side. Oh,
Mhm.
come on, camera. Stop playing with my tone.
I have a pretty good sense of who should play me in a movie version of our game, which would be an awesome movie because it would just be people sitting around talking about D&D. And we all know that's an amazing thing to watch.
Doug says
But-
Julianne Moore fits.
Yeah. I can see a little like Emma Stone around the eyes, maybe. or
Oh
something.
yeah, I was gonna say Emma Stone for one of the I'm not even going to finish that sentence because then they'll be like, well, what about the other sister? And it'll be like, well, Celia, what? You know, the sisters, there's this big competition. So
I have to go through this list of actresses with amazing cheekbones to find the one of the name Cara Delevingne. I don't know how to say her last name.
Oh, yeah.
If she had red hair. I see it. Nice eyes, sharp eyebrows, killer cheekbones. Not an amazing actress. So that is one downfall.
Well, I mean, she is primarily a model, right?
Right.
Like it says model, actress, and singer in that order. So
so she must really.
She knows where to put the
thinking.
effort.
yes, exactly.
She's like, hi, I have amazing eyebrows and cheekbones. I'll be over here.
It's funny how much beauty is power in our culture.
Hmm.
You know, you can, if you won that genetic lottery, you have a lot going for you.
Oh, that can be said about a lot of things. as a apex privileged person, I can say.
Okay,
I
so
don't
you
know.
want
I
to
think
hear?
beauty trumps everything. It doesn't matter. I think beauty is in our culture. That trumps pretty much everything.
I was
Very
actually
true.
interested by like how many different beauty standards that exist like around the world. I was researching this for a story like the other month, and I found that there was like a tribe of people somewhere in the world that really liked long necks. So they from youth, women would put like these rings around their neck that would like essentially
Yeah.
stretch their necks out, and then they would stack the rings like more and more as they grew older, and then they can never take them off, you know, later in life because their necks are just so long, and the bone
Baby
structure.
neck.
yeah, the bones have just been, you know, like pulled out, stretched so thin that they can't actually support the weight of their own head anymore. So they like have to sleep in those rings, you know, bathe in those rings, like they are on there.
Yeah, well, the Northwest tribes before European contact, I should look up which one. Cradle boarding. Well, you put the baby and then it deforms the forehead, and then they just grow up and then they have a really sloped forehead.
Flathead Indians were misnamed, but for another group of Indians that did that. Yeah, let's
Patrick
go.
Dempsey. All right.
Yeah, I mean, even
Patrick
like
Dempsey is the person that I think of for being Randy / Rogar. So
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah,
So like
I'll
a beauty
take it.
standard, a beauty standard in like a well-known culture, even like Japan, that like I didn't know about until I looked this up, was like black teeth. Apparently, like dyeing your teeth black, having like a completely black smile, is like a sign of wealth. Because like back in the, I think it was the Meiji era, like everybody had white teeth, so the rich people were like, we need to distinguish ourselves and do something that nobody else can do. So they dyed their teeth black.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those really risky, the emperor has no clothes moments in culture where it's like, see, I've got my black teeth. I am awesome. And everyone's like, no,
Yeah,
you're really.
I can imagine some peasant like freaking out because they just naturally have really bad teeth, and they're like, I don't want them to think I'm trying to sort of like, you have to like choose, like, do I potentially offend the Lord or yank out my teeth, like kind of thing.
Costly
Even-
signaling theory. What it's called in anthropology.
Even in
Yeah.
short term, like, you know, looking at Cara Delevingne is known for her amazing thick eyebrows. And I remember growing up in the 90s when pencil eyebrows were in fashion. And let me tell you, making these pencil eyebrows was never, ever going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm very
there's a
glad
thing.
natural is more in now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a thing now where I've seen young women, they take what looks to me like a fat Sharpie and they go, "Schmurp," and wow, it's a big eyebrow. But it's not hair. It's
Well, like
art.
if you have, like, my mother's eyebrows are really thin, and so she's always kind of filled them in. And so some of that is like filling in for pale, thin eyebrows. And
Right,
some of it
right.
is I want thick eyebrows that aren't here. So I'm just going to help them along.
And when are thick
I-
eyebrows for men gonna be in? I'm waiting for my period.
or
Do men
just
get
those
eyebrow
eyebrows with the
fashions?
random hairs that just kind of go all over. That's coming in. I can feel it, and I'm working on that right now.
Well, I feel like the
Yeah.
men have the like trying to avoid the unibrow kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
As
isn't that
they're-
everybody?
I
guess
go to this,
like the facial hair is more of a
Yeah.
like this part of the face.
Beauty
When I was-
standards
To go
are a
back to
bit
mutton
relaxed
chops,
for
man.
men, so
So they're killer.
Yeah, when I was a teen and like I have pretty prominent canines, and I started to grow a little, hair on the back of my hands and stuff. And I'm like, fuck, am I a werewolf? What? Did no one tell me? Is this like, are my parents gonna sit me down on my 18th birthday and say, we got something to tell you?
Well,
Uh,
what's the like in the mythology? There's something about like finger lengths to do with lycanthropy.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Don't
Or
know.
maybe
Make
it
a
was
joke
just
about hairy hands now.
one show that made it up, rather than actually researching it. But
Hmm.
Always possible.
So
Finger-
for Aaron, the thing
So-
one that popped immediately into my mind was Emma Caulfield, who played Anya on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know why, but that was the first person that popped
Oh.
into my head.
I am really bad at remembering celebrities.
Yeah, it's Caul Field, Emma Caulfield. But yeah,
Oh,
I am
so
also very bad. Like if someone else mentions a celebrity who looks like you, I'll be like, totally. But like just pulling it out of the ether, I'm very bad at.
When I was young, people used to tell me a lot of different people, which I thought was interesting because I don't think most of them looked alike. But I can't remember any of them except Mina Suvari. When like American Pie came out, people were like, "Oh." The one that I remember as an adult was Emily Deschanel, who was on Bones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because after I had moved away from home and before my mother moved out here, she told me she would watch that show because it reminded her of me, which is
Aw.
very sweet.
good show.
Yeah.
yeah, I got told, not Rose Leslie, but Ygritte as a lookalike, which is mostly but because Ygritte has red hair and like was doing some like braiding stuff that I was sort of doing at that time. Why was the color tone tonight? I don't understand. Anyway, so Rose Leslie herself, I don't feel like the face is right when you don't have the hair thing that Ygritte has.
I think people get very distracted by the hair. It's like it's very malleable though. Box of dye, afternoon,
Exactly.
totally
Have you,
different.
have you ever tried dyeing your hair, Rhiannon? Like a different color?
Well, this is dye, but
Oh.
I don't tend to go wildly outside of the red spectrum because I just like red.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have redhead genes, but then they sort of tripped when it got to me versus my maternal grandmother.
Mm.
I couldn't tell that it wasn't natural, one. And then two, I was just curious if people would treat
Maybe
you
she's
different.
born with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
Maybe it's
flirted
red
with
hair
it before,
genes. Anyway,
but I'm too damn lazy to bleach, which really sort of constrains how different the color is going to look. Because I tried to go for like a really super dark purple, almost going black at one point, and it was dark, but it was still just kind of purpley reddish, So if you really want to go different, you got to bleach, and I ain't got time for that.
There's a lot of sitting and waiting. And just, cautionary tale, don't do that at home.
Well, when
People are
I'm
professionals for a reason.
nominated for a Hugo, I'm gonna go to a professional and do something like wild for the award
Yes.
ceremony.
There you
But
go.
I should probably say if, but let's go with when.
hey, when?
Oh my God.
when?
You should wear a dress that looks exactly like the award.
Then you get up on stage and you're like, who could have seen this coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Duargar
good
Chaser
words.
says natal hormone exposure finger length. I think that was in reply to the like anthropy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did a little Google and it was coming up, but in this sort of typical mythological fashion, someone's like, oh, it's this or oh, it's that. But there are human differences about like the ratio of lengths of the different fingers. So I wouldn't be surprised if mythology is grabbed onto that for various things.
Hey, Stephen, did I hear you say you have a bunch of like different colored chairs in your classroom that you were worried about that?
Well, I carefully curate the black chairs so that all my chairs are black or at least very dark blue.
Oh.
Otherwise, if you don't carefully curate your classrooms, every year they take out all the furniture and they do the carpets again, and then they put back in, theoretically, all the stuff that came out of your room. But a lot of times classroom stuff gets mixed up, and so you end up with this like confetti look of different chair colors, and it just looks so bad to me.
Oh, that's good. I was gonna say like you could try to set up your chairs in like some pattern, like set up a puzzle and like tell the students the chairs are set up as a puzzle. Whoever figures it out first. So just
Like
don't invite Emily because she'll figure it out in 2 seconds. But
like the Ted Lasso intro.
Oh, is that her? I have yet to see this show.
It's not a puzzle. No, it's bleacher seats, but different colors.
Yeah, it's just yeah. Anyway, so I have classes that are so large that we don't have enough seats, and so I had to, and I should have taken care. If I had taken care of this last week, I would have been able to curate exactly what I got. But I thought that the kids that were the overflow were actually seniors that were taking running start and were going to drop anyway in the first day of school, but they didn't. So. Now I'm going to end up with a bunch of random crap in my room. It's going to, there are worse fates, I must say. But, it's not going to be ideal.
So here's a question I'm curious about. It's been a long, long time since I was in school, but if you don't have assigned seats, do your students like find somewhere to sit in the room and then like really glom onto it? Because certainly at community choir, our director is always like, choristers are the most territorial people on the planet. I'm like, humans are pretty territorial. Isn't
that just like human nature? Like
people
always like
find their spot and then that is theirs. You can't take it, man.
But you can't be like with the sopranos if you're not a soprano.
Well, within the weird our sections are like, say, 20 people in the bigger sections. And so within 20 chairs, you can do a lot of swappage.
And are there people who just do not get that? And they're just like, if you're not there early enough, they're going to probably sit in your seat because they just don't get it.
or the people who like are late and so are just like weird free radicals because they come in late and like they have to just take what's there. And so they just like mix it up.
Yeah, people are like that. So after I don't have a seating chart the first few days, and then people tend to sit, they find their people and they sit. And it's also a chance for me to see who shouldn't be sitting next to each other. And then I'll either solidify it, I'll say, okay, tomorrow's the day where wherever you're sitting, that's your spot. So they can come early if they really care. And also I can tweak it. I can say, okay, these two clearly can't handle sitting next to each other. So, but mostly it's okay. And I find that kids, if they're happier socially in the room, even if they're maybe a little chatty, they do better. So it's better not to, I try to avoid having to separate people. Because it tends to be that the reason they're chatty is because they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It's hard enough, God, after COVID especially. Everyone's so shy. I was shy for the first time. I was like nervous before the first day of school. I'm usually excited. I was like, people, don't have to talk to them. Look at me. It was weird.
Hilarious.
So yes, Eric, I saw your chat. Alexander Skarsgård for sure. I would agree with that.
Right.
Also,
anyway,
one of the first pictures I pulled up when I Googled just to remember who he was is like, I don't know if you can see it, but basically him in a tux with no pants. So, but in underwear. So I say, sure, go for it, man.
Yeah. All right. Hey, look, you only see the top half of me. Okay.
Exactly. Like no one would ever know anyway. If you're on
That's right.
TV.
Steven's
Your green
ripped,
screen was
Eric
flashing
has
it
no
out.
pants.
All I saw was like naked legs.
Yeah, I know.
Looking at you.
So did we come up with bingo card squares?
Chat
think
came up
I
with a
distracted
few.
people.
Then I came up with a bunch more.
Let's do
Okay.
Wood's background.
Well, that's good. So we are reinstating bingo. Did we not do bingo for a while?
No,
Oh,
we've
we've
been doing
always had-
bingo. We just freshening it up.
Yeah,
Oh.
I just
Yeah.
added new squares.
When everybody knows what the squares are going to be, it's not as exciting.
Hmm.
Everybody take a new bingo scoreboard because it's pretty great.
Yeah, but in a moment because I still have to update. the
In a
link.
moment.
We'll have the
Um,
5-minute break in a few minutes, and then I can do all that.
There we
So,
go. Done.
How many people in our group summon things? I know Stong does.
I can summon David.
It's a square.
Cecilia can summon David.
Already a square?
I can summon tears.
That's not a square.
That's a free action.
Rogar summons the hammer of love, though. So
He
that's
does.
a thing.
True.
That is a square.
technically. And now I can summon Vindicator. I literally summoned Vindicator. So
Wow.
I don't know that Artemisia can summon anything unless like she puts her Tressum away because she can put familiars away.
now
Does
I
unseen servant count?
Ooh, Rumpus
Yeah.
Curator
Yeah,
points
it
out that he
does.
can summon Valkyries, Dwarven Valkyries.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. So you know,
Rogar is like the summoner of the group.
I guess so. Yeah. Now I just need to spell I can summon Roomba to me. too.
Dwarven
Artemisia seems
Chaser
to be a
says you
reverse
also
summoner.
summoned
Like
a
she
hot
sends
dwarf
things
guard.
away.
Who's the hot dwarf guard?
my
Dwayne the Rock.
My sentinel?
Oh.
Dwayne the Rock Dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat knows too.
Chat remembers.
What is that? Something guardian, spiritual guardian. Or, no, I always mix
Guardian
it up.
of
with
Faith.
Guardian of Faith. Yeah,
Yeah.
my guardian of faith is Dwayne the Rock Johnson is a dwarf.
there are good movies coming up. By the way, I'm just watching the thing in front of our show on Twitch, and there was a Star Trek advertisement. It looked like some kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
that'll be on the Paramount Plus, won't it?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there's a new Star Trek movie coming out. Is that what you were saying here? No.
I have no idea.
It's Star Trek Day. It's Star Trek Day.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
and
someone
so
might be going on
Paramount
about
Plus
that.
is running a whole like bunch of programming, I think.
Mhm.
Ooh. Yeah, I love Discovery. It's been a good week, man. Wheel of Time trailer drop. That was sweet. We got
Wait. Say some more about that. What it's
Matrix and Matrix 4 teaser. So my theory on that is John Wick the entire time has actually been Matrix movies.
Yep.
It's Neo. He's been trapped in this like combat simulator.
Matrix 4
it's
and
just-
John
it's
Wick
just
4 are
effing
the
with him.
same movie.
I enjoy
just
very
torturing
much
him.
the like split of I have friends I have who are like, oh my god, the Matrix, and they mean the Matrix. Is it Resurrections? Is it? Versus my literary fiction friends are like, oh my god, Matrix, which is the new Lauren Groff book that just came out. I got very confused when people were tweeting. I was like, wait, you what?
Keanu Reeves is in the Matrix. So yeah, Wheel of Time's trailer. Steven, have you read the books?
that's Robert Jordan.
Yep.
I read the first one. So they're making movies out of them, or is it a show?
TV show.
Oh,
It's Amazon
Prime.
That
Puts
could
it in
be-
Moiraine's point of view, which I think is an excellent choice.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then,
probably it is. Yeah.
I think so.
I
And then
wasn't-
yeah, I mean, as a show, it will cut so much of all of the long descriptions and padding and having to jump around between 50 points of view per book and all that kind of stuff. TV show, you can just, here it is, and all the visual stuff is there. And so, I think I'm pretty excited for the potential of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of exciting, we've got a new Shays recap that we need to play right now because it is 6:26, and then
Oh,
we will
sweet.
be back in
Right.
4 minutes.
Oh,
So, we know that this isn't going to end well, right? As the irregulars tried to find more information or leads on how they could find Sarshan, a chance arose to possibly actually find Cecilia's father Lazar again. And, well, I'm not actually sure what they were going to do with him. Were they going to press him for information to try to find Sarshan? Or they're just going to beat him into the dirt? I vote for the second one. Searching for Lazar, however, came with its own complications. In searching for him, the irregulars came across a coven, I suppose, of Rashemi witches, accompanied by a cadre of berserkers, all of them also looking for Lazar, and seemingly having honed in on Lazar's mask, the mask that Cecilia wears. Now, perhaps adding insult to injury, they didn't actually know who she was. They just assumed she was some rando who wound up with his mask somehow. Maybe stole it? I mean, technically, she did steal it, so they weren't entirely wrong. Cecilia tried to play it off like that was basically the case. But when the witches demanded it back, since it was Rashemi property, essentially, Cecilia was less than amenable to this. Now, the witches sort of sensed her reluctance, but as the berserkers moved in to attack and take the mask, some quick thinking from the group resulted in a thick mist rising up. And under the cover of that mist, Rogar was able to teleport the party far, far away to the west, I think? Away, specifically. This brought them basically to the doorstep of the village of strange capitalist orcs that they'd encountered on previous adventures. The orcs beneath whose village they discovered a Baelnorn that Sturge happened to be related to. Apparently since then they'd formed a bit of a cult centered around the Baelnorn, and, well, I imagine she's kind of embarrassed by this. So, after navigating the very strange practices of this new cult, the irregulars moved out again. This time, they're able to track Lazar to a camp in which signs of a struggle seem to be everywhere. Blood, smashed stuff, you know how it goes. There were signs that a lizard man had been disintegrated, but before they could really determine what had happened and actually track Lazar down, the witches showed up again, because of course they did. Now, they were ready to take the mask back, especially now that they thought that Cecilia and her people were kind of in league with Lazar, and maybe they are, technically. I know no one really wants to be in league with him, but, This, however, was interrupted. By what, might you ask? Well, to make matters worse and further complicate things, that was when Cecilia and Artemisia's birth mother decided to show up, the Spear Witch herself. Now, last I checked, she does not like the witches of Rashomon. I don't think they like her either, so maybe we've got a witch fight on our hands.